Good morning, ninth graders, and welcome to the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Dr. Scully. I'm your new principal, and I want to be the first to welcome you to both the new school and to the new school year. It goes without saying that this first day is unlike any other first day you've probably experienced in your lives, but I want you to know that it is different than any other first day that your teachers or administrators have ever experienced as well. As a result, we've been working all summer to design a remote learning and eventually a hybrid learning model that we are confident will teach you the academic, social, and civic skills that you will need for your eventual college and career experiences. At the same time, we want you to know that we fully believe that your experience as a part of the BHS community will not only bring you skills and knowledge, but will also make you a member of one of the best student bodies in the entire state. As a group, you are likely the most diverse class in the history of this building. Some of you have lived in Braintree your whole lives, while some of you just moved here this summer. Some of you know about BHS from parents or an older sibling, while others of you will be learning about the building and our traditions for the first time. You have different languages that you may speak at home or at school. You have different cultural and family traditions. You might worship differently or not at all, and you may find support, friendship, and love in different ways. Despite all these ways that you are different, as of today, you are also now united as one, as the Braintree High School class of 2024, a class that is destined to have an incredible high school career. Over the course of the day, you will hear messages from your assistant principals and from your guidance counselors. You'll see parts of the building and what they look like, and you'll have a chance to join live question and answer sessions. Starting tomorrow, you'll begin classes using a remote learning model, as we all look forward to returning to the building in a hybrid model later this fall. As you take in all this new information, and as you get started on the new academic year, please remember as well how you are all connected as BHS students. In the coming months, we will all not only learn new things, but we will also learn new ways of learning those things. I know that you will all do great with this challenge, and I look forward to following your success both this year and throughout your high school career. For now, have a great new school year.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Freshman Orientation 2021 Remote Edition. My name is Mrs. Moynihan, and I'm the Assistant Principal of House 2 at Braintree High School. This morning, you're going to meet all three Assistant Principals, Mr. Dellery and Mr. Reardon, and you've already met our fearless leader, the Principal, Dr. Scully. This morning, our job is to give you some of the procedures and policies of Braintree High School. Now, there's no doubt we would much rather have you all here in person, and I'm pretty certain you would all rather be here. However, because we can't do that, we're going to do our best to make you feel welcome and to ease your mind at any concerns you may have. And later today, we will have office hours for anyone who would like to join us and ask personal questions. That's what we're here for. Our job is to make your experience the best ever at Braintree High. Now, first, let me talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, what I call our new normal, remote learning. It's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for you, it's difficult for your parents, and it's difficult for the staff. Everyone would rather be here. Most of us that are in education love the interaction with kids, and that's where we really thrive. However, we can't. So what do? You're going to be meeting with your teachers every week through Google Meets and through different types of classes, and we're going to do our very best to give you the exact same instruction that you would get in person. Some of the other concerns are, how are you going to get academic support? Where do I go to? Who do I call? Who do I email? We'll make sure we take care of that during our presentation today. Most importantly, I bet you miss your friends. To me, that's the best part of school. I miss my friends too, and I miss the students. I miss the one-to-one interactions, but we will do the best we can. Keeping in mind that the safer we are today, the quicker we will all be able to get together at Braintree High School. Finally, we want everyone to get and stay involved. We still will have student activities throughout the year. Mr. Reardon's going to talk a little bit about how you can get involved in this presentation today. So please pay attention and do what you have to get involved. I promise you, we have something for everyone, and together we will get through this. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Academics. At this point, you've all received your schedule. A Couple things. If you didn't get it, you should contact your house office. Okay, you've all been notified. If you're in house 1, 2, or 3, you would contact your house office and our house administrative assistants would be happy to help you. If you have an issue with your schedule and you have some questions or concerns, please feel free to contact your guidance counselor. They're one of the best staffs around, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer all of your questions. As far as grading this year, we are moving back towards a traditional grading system here at the high school. You'll hear more about this from your teachers, but essentially you will be graded on completion, you will be graded on correctness, and your participation in all your classes. So it is important that you join each and every one of your classes every day and do your best. Here at the high school, we do have eligibility for extracurricular activities, and not to get into too much detail right now, but in order to participate in after-school activities, you must have a 70 average and pass all 5 of your classes. If you dip below that, unfortunately, you can't participate. Our motto here is academics come first. So once you're doing the best you can and getting a 70 average or better, we would love to have you join us in all of the after-school activities. As far as the Aspen portal, it is the same kind of information as you had last year at East or South, and it's the same for your parents as well. Teachers at the high school will update your grades in Aspen at least halfway through each term, and at the end of each term, your report card will be available through Aspen. Here at the high school, we're going to start treating you a little bit more like adults as well. We expect that you will take initiative and monitor your own grades. Our teachers will reach out and support, and they'll reach out to parents, but we do put a little bit more onus on you as students now that you're older to take some initiative. If you have a grade you're not happy with, if you have a grade that you're questioning, we expect you to reach out to your teacher and ask the right questions. If you're not quite sure how to do that, that's what your house office is for, your assistant principal and your guidance counselor. So please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. And as I mentioned earlier, report cards will be issued quarterly here at the high school. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dellery, the assistant principal for House 1, who's going to go through the bell schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Moynihan. Good morning, freshmen. My name is Mr. Dellery. I am the assistant principal in charge of House 1. I look forward to meeting and working with all of you. And as Ms. Moynihan said, I'm going to speak a little bit this morning about our schedule. So the slide that you can see right now on the screen is our remote learning bell schedule. Let me give you a few important pieces of information regarding the schedule. So you'll notice that on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have 6 classes that will be meeting remotely. Here at BHS, we identify our classes by letters. So you'll be assigned to classes for A block through F block. And you'll notice that on Monday and Friday, our classes run A through F, while on Tuesday and Thursday, our classes will run D, E, F, A, B, C. And that will be consistent from week to week. You'll also notice that on Wednesday, there are some different learning opportunities, and I'll speak about those in just a minute. So as Ms. Moynihan said, you all have been assigned to houses and guidance counselors, and the way that you find that out is by looking at your sample schedule. Your schedule was sent to you via Aspen on Monday. And as you can see down here from this sample, this is what the schedule looks like. You'll see each of the 5 days, Monday through Friday. And in the top right, you'll see what we call your homeroom. In order to know what house you're in, there is a number that follows the homeroom. So this student here is in homeroom 208, but they're in house 3. The guidance counselor assignment is also listed, and as you can see that this student's guidance counselor is Ms. Roos. And then your schedule is below that. You'll see each of the blocks A through F, and you'll also see that this student has a Phys Ed class scheduled on Wednesday. Some of you will as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So what do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday look like? You will have a Google Classroom code for each of your classes, and those Google accounts will be the same as the ones that you had when you were at South or East. A Google Meet link will be sent by your teacher or posted in Google Classroom, and that will be what you will use to connect to your virtual classroom. It's important to know attendance will be taken each period, but teachers will explain their method for taking attendance with you. During your classes, although the classes are scheduled for 55 minutes, some will consist of shorter lessons or maybe longer lessons, in that some classes will have teacher-led activities followed by independent assignments. So it's important to know there may be some classes where you're not required to stay on Google Meet for the whole class period. But you should also know that teachers will be available for the whole class period to assist and support your work. On Wednesdays, you will be learning what we call asynchronously. So our A through F classes won't meet at a formal time, but instead you'll be given assignments for each class to work on. On Wednesdays, we will have advisory, and advisory will meet at 10:30 a.m. Each student is given a faculty advisor who you'll get to know and work with in small groups over the course of your 4 years at BHS. Some Wednesdays will have the opportunity for clubs and extracurricular activities to meet. In addition, as I previously mentioned, some students will have Phys Ed on Wednesdays. So if you're a student who does not have Phys Ed during blocks A through F on your schedule, then your Phys Ed will take place on Wednesday. And finally, also on Wednesday, you'll have an opportunity for office hours where you can meet individually or in small groups with teachers to get extra help or with your guidance counselor. So let me just explain a little bit more about Phys Ed. The way that we're running Phys Ed this year is you will have it either on Monday and Tuesday, or or Thursday and Friday, or you'll just have it on Wednesday. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're a student who does not have Phys Ed on your schedule A through F, then you're scheduled into a Wednesday Phys Ed class. All grade 9 students are scheduled into what we're calling Wednesday 1 or Wednesday 2. Wednesday 1 is from 8 to 8:25, and that will show up on your schedule as W1. W2 is 8:30 to 8:55. So some of you will be in those classes, so you should keep an eye out for that on your schedule. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Reardon, who's the third assistant principal.
Thank you, Mr. Dellery. My name is Mr. Reardon. I'm the assistant principal for House 3, and I'm very excited for everyone to be joining us today on this video. I'm going to talk about a couple of things. We'll start off with attendance. Just some procedural things that we want you all to be able to follow. We want everyone to be logged into their first class by 7:35 each morning. This will help us with daily attendance. Attendance is an important factor. It is one of the requirements to be able to participate in after-school activities like clubs and sports. All students must arrive by 8:30 and complete the entire day to be eligible to participate in that afternoon's activity or sport. So it does become very important. If a student does miss more than 20 minutes of a class, they will be considered absent from that class. And that's going to be important when I show you this next slide. Most of your classes do give you 5 credits at the end of the year when you pass the class. However, if within a term you have more than 5 unexcused absences from a class, you would lose 1 credit for that term. An unexcused absence is any absence where you do not have a doctor's note, a court date, or a funeral as far as a reason for being absent. In terms of absences, if you know that you're going to be out of school on a particular day, you want to make sure that you reach out to the teacher. If it's something where it's planned in advance, letting the teacher know in advance, or after the fact, reaching out to your teacher to get any makeup work that you're going to need to complete. It's as simple as an email to your teacher. If you're having difficulty getting a hold of your teacher, please don't hesitate to reach out to your guidance counselor or your assistant principal. Will be happy to help with that. A couple of other pieces of information. Because we're starting off this year in full remote for everyone, there are some expectations in terms of technology that we want to make sure everyone knows, so we're all starting at the same point. The first piece is you want to make sure that you're logged in to your Google Classroom or Google Meet by the scheduled start time. Mr. Dellery had gone over those start times for classes with the schedule during his presentation. We ask when you log in that your microphones are muted and your cameras are turned on at all times. Your teacher might have you unmute to answer questions, or if there's a particular activity that would require it, mute your camera. But while you're logging in, we want to make sure that the microphones are muted and your cameras are turned on. Your attention should be on the teacher, and just like if once we're in school, we'd be following the Braintree Public Schools responsible use policy. Links to this is located on the school website. We want to also, a lot of this information that we're talking about is found in the Braintree High School handbook. So we want to make sure that you're respecting everyone else, giving everyone a chance to participate, and following those policies in the handbook. Any inappropriate behavior, we don't expect much to be happening, but if something does happen, it may result in removal from the class or additional school consequences. Lastly, electronic devices. This is really cell phones. We want to make sure that you're aware that cell phones are not considered an acceptable device for instructional purposes. That would include what we mean by that statement is taking the place of a computer in a class. If you do have issues and need help with getting a computer, you want to make sure you reach out to your assistant principal and we can put you in contact with the technology department. When you're logged into class, just like the previous slide, we want to make sure that you are giving your full attention to the teacher and your cell phones are put away. And if the cell phones do start to become a problem in the class, teachers will reach out to parents to include them in the conversation and potentially the assistant principal as well. Now I want to reintroduce Ms. Moynihan, and she will talk to you about the next section of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Reardon. At this time, I'd like to talk about the Braintree High School Academic Integrity Policy. This is our policy that monitors plagiarism and academic dishonesty. It is a violation of the policy for anyone who copies or plagiarizes from someone else in an effort to gain an academic advantage for their own work, even if it's a former student, even if it's a brother or sister who long graduated. You do need to hand in your own work. You also are not allowed to provide your own work to another student for academic credit. That's not okay either. And also, even though we're working remotely, each student is expected to complete the assignments independently using your own words, unless you're directed by the teacher. For example, if you're doing a group project, the teacher may ask you to collaborate together, but with whatever product you need to hand in, you still need to use your own words. However, once in a while, they may allow a group to hand in one assignment, at which point you can work as a group. If you ever have any questions about this, you should ask your teacher directly to ensure that you don't get penalized for something you did unknowingly. The teachers at Braintree High check for plagiarism and copy work on a regular basis. We actually have technological applications that we use to support us. When a teacher does suspect a violation has occurred, he or she will work with the student's assistant principal to figure out the situation and to decide how to move forward. Please know, consequences can be severe. They will often include a reduced grade and at times a 0 on the assignment. Some examples of academic integrity violations include the following. When a student is sharing and discussing an assessment questions and answers with others in person, in a text chain, or on social media, you can't do that. If you're copying from another source or paraphrasing ideas without properly citing them. If you're copying answers from another person's homework, test, essay, or project. Or if you're allowing another student to copy your own work, you are in trouble as well. The famous crib sheet, to us often known as the cheat sheet, is unacceptable anytime you're doing any type of work. For world language students, you're not allowed to use an online translator during an assignment. And allowing a friend to look at your homework is not okay. Even though you didn't think they'd copy your work and they do, you are still at fault. So we highly suggest in this type of situation, a better solution would be to talk through a question or a concern a student or a friend may have, but then to put the answer in your own words. That's the best way to get through it. Please know we're well aware a lot of kids don't violate this policy on purpose, which is why we're sharing these examples from you today. Anytime you're concerned or question whether or not you've plagiarized, It is always okay to reach out to your teacher ahead of time, ask them a question, tell them what you've done, and make sure it's okay before you hit submit. Because once you do hit submit, you are responsible for what you've done. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Dellery, who's going to review another important policy here at Braintree High School in regards to bullying and harassment.
Thank you, Ms. Moynihan. Another important item to discuss is our bullying, discrimination, hazing, harassment, sexual harassment, and hate crimes policy. We believe that all students have the right to feel safe, welcome, and included at Braintree High School every day, whether it's in person or in a virtual classroom. And any instances of this to the contrary will be fully investigated. When students witness or are a target of any of these actions, they should notify their guidance counselor or their assistant principal. Any inappropriate or hate speech directed at one's race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation are unacceptable. They go against the Braintree High School mission. They go against what we are as a school and as a community. And two of the important aspects of BHS Pride are respect and diversity. And we expect and we ask that our students live by this every day. For violations of this policy, consequences can be assigned, and they can include up to a 10-day out-of-school suspension. Outside of school issues that are brought to our attention, including social media and texting, we're also required to investigate into those matters. And when we do, sometimes we have to involve the Braintree Police when necessary. For those who would like more information, the complete policy is listed in the Braintree High School Student Parent Handbook. And finally, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Reardon for a little bit more information about BHS Pride and next steps for today.
Thank you, Mr. Dellery. As Ms. Moynihan mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, there's lots of ways to get involved here at Braintree High School. There are over 40 clubs and activities, from baking club to theater guild and Model UN to art club. No matter what your preference, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out on these great opportunities. Stay tuned for more information I'll be sending out next week on how to join. Looking at the rest of our schedule for today, students are going to be asked to attend a guidance counselor welcome video at 9 a.m. And then each of the house offices will be holding a Google Meet question and answer session. House 1 at 10 a.m., House 2 starting at 10:30, and House 3 at 11 a.m. This brings us to our last slide in the presentation. We're going to have some teachers introduce you to the heart of Braintree High School, the meaning and belief system of our PRIDE acronym. Mr. DeMilla, take it away.
This is Mr. DeMilla from the Science Department.
I'm Mr. Wakeland.
Hello, Braintree High School. I'm Mrs. Gorman.
Hola, soy la señora Jameson, and yes, you guessed it, I teach español.
Boy, is this going to be an interesting opening, huh?
Hi, I'm Mr. Flanagan.
The P stands for partnership. And successful students know that you don't go through this process, you don't go about getting an education by yourself. You should lean on and draw from the resources around you, the people around you, your faculty, certainly, your fellow classmates, and the support staff and the administration as well. In class, ask questions, get clarifications, go to review sessions or extra help sessions. That's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of strength. With your classmates, when you're in breakout sessions, don't just sit there. If you know what's going on, contribute. If you don't know what's going on, ask a question. If all the students aren't coming along at the same pace, stop, slow things down, and make sure that everybody knows what's going on. And draw upon the support staff and even the administration in the building. It will make your life easier. Working by yourself is working hard, and that's admirable, but it's not always effective. You need to work smart too. And working collaboratively in a partnership is going to be critical this year.
I'm here to talk to you about the R in PRIDE, which stands for respect and responsibility. I know it's one letter standing for two words, but don't overanalyze it. Respect and responsibility go hand in hand. First, respect means many things, like respecting school, property, and personal space. But most importantly, it comes down to respecting people. Respect is a two-way street. If you don't show it, you rarely get it. One of the best ways you could show respect is to listen to other people, especially your peers. People definitely remember when others show them respect. People absolutely remember when others show them disrespect. Now, our responsibility here at BHS is to educate and prepare our students for the tools they need to become productive members of our society. Your responsibility is to, of course, do your schoolwork, but most importantly, to respect yourselves and others. We're all responsible to each other and ourselves.
I in Pride stands for involvement. And involvement is one of the reasons I love working at Braintree High School. There's so many different ways that you can get involved. You can try out for a play, join a club, run for student council, play a sport you've never played before. It's okay to try new things. Step out of your comfort zone, because once you do, you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to build new relationships with people you never knew before, and you're going to make new friends. So I encourage you to try to get involved at Braintree High. I don't think you're going to regret it.
When I think of the word diversity, you know what comes to mind? A stunning, colorful quilt. A quilt that has different patterns, designs, colors, yet when you stitch them together, it creates a masterpiece. We're all created equal, yet wonderfully and uniquely different. Isn't that amazing? Having a diverse community is a beautiful and powerful thing. As we work together and foster respect, let's learn from each other. Let's appreciate new perspectives, new ideas. Let's get rid of any barriers and celebrate one another. You may be surprised we have more things in common than what you think. And as we embrace our differences and work together, it will make a strong BHS family. Just like the quilt, we're all different, yet we all bring something to the table. You are valuable. And as we come together, it creates a beautiful and rich community.
Educational excellence is the primary goal of all that we do. It's important to remember that educational experiences and activities vary, and they can take place both inside and outside of the classroom. I encourage you to be open to learning new things, learning about each other, and learning about yourself. As you continue to develop your intellectual capacities and master skills, I hope you find passion in your endeavors and ultimately become lifelong learners. Make an effort to try your best in all that you do and know that we're always here to support you.
So think about that, all right? Good luck to us, and again, welcome back. I hope you have a very successful academic year.
Best wishes for an excellent school year filled with pride.